Hi, Daniel. It's great to have you. Thanks again for joining. And to start, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Daniel Abdyldaev. I'm a Chief Investment Officer at Accelerate Prosperity, which is one of the largest startup accelerators in the region. And I'm also co-founder of what's called Angels. It's the first angel investors network out of Kyrgyz Republic, investing globally.
Great, thank you. So, Kyrgyzstan's startups and ecosystem has been growing consistently in the recent years, right? How would you describe the ecosystem today and what excites you most about the future?
I would say, if you put it in 2 words, I would probably say not enough. So we should take the latest report on our region done by Rise Research. It says that our total volume of VC deals in the region was around 300 million plus, and only a fraction of that is Kyrgyz Republic. Unfortunately, we're growing pretty fast, but there's definitely a shortage of VC funds and venture capital funding, angel funding in the Kyrgyz Republic. Still, in terms of talent, I have no doubt that we can produce global scale success stories. So I'm quite positive, and being in this industry, you know well that it takes time to see these success stories happening. So I think we are on the right track, but we need some more speed and a bit more resources, I'd say.
Yes, thank you. And what kinds of startups or founders stand out to investors in Kyrgyzstan and Central Asia today?
So I'll start with the regional one. The story we are all proud with is called Higgsfield AI, which is the fastest growing video generation startup out of Kazakhstan, which is less than an hour flight from Bishkek, from Kyrgyzstan. And it's the first purely global tech company built out of our region, which is a unicorn. The evaluation has already surpassed, I think, $4 billion. They're growing with a really impressive speed. And it's inspiring all of us here in Kyrgyz Republic, in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and other parts of the region. Region-wise, it's definitely Higgsfield, and they're doing a great job. And so we're really proud to have such stories. If we take Kyrgyz Republic, I think there are 3 archetypes of founders we have, and they are more or less applicable to every country. And you can just swap Kyrgyz to Uzbek, Kazakh, or Tajik, or other, but I think the archetypes are the same. So the first archetype is we call Kyrgyz roots. So stories which are built by founders who were born and raised in Kyrgyz Republic, but left many years ago. For instance, there's a story which is called Havox AI. The company has secured $100 million from SoftBank few years back. It's a huge company now. What they do is, prior to the launch of ChatGPT by OpenAI, they started using machine learning and artificial intelligence to analyze all internal communications in financial institutions for compliance reasons. And Erkin Adylov, who is the founder, CEO and founder, he has strong background in finance, so he knows everything, all the industry inside and out. And he built this company, and now it's probably now it's already a unicorn. He had ambitions to get listed on stock exchange in the coming years. A story built by a Kyrgyz founder, but we can hardly call it Kyrgyz, unfortunately, because the HQ is not in Kyrgyz Republic. Obviously, it's in US. They have offices in US, in London, in Canada, and we cannot call this Kyrgyz startup. Well, for instance, another story, the company we've invested in as Angel Syndicate, Tech. Again, Asel Sarbayeva, who is a Kyrgyz national, she left for United Kingdom. She's a scientist, and she's building a company which came up with a really smart technology, which is called ensilication. So what they basically do is they allow vaccines to be transported in room temperatures. Because the legacy solution, the older solution was to have these large pieces of cold chain infrastructure, which is both pricey and bulky, not efficient. And now she's basically preparing a revolution in the industry of vaccine transportation. But again, unfortunately, we cannot call this startup Kyrgyz because it's a UK-based startup. So this is the first archetype, and there are many founders like that who left many years ago building amazing companies, but they're not, unfortunately, integrated into the local ecosystem. And here comes the second group, which we call hybrid. And these guys, they also have global exposure. They have some global experience working for large tech companies, but they moved their offices back to Bishkek, back to Kyrgyz Republic. And they are operating globally, but out of Kyrgyz Republic. And for instance, there's a company called Outtalent. which helps tech professionals from emerging markets to land jobs at large tech companies like Google, Meta, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, and etc. Huge companies. And the founder, Dilek Mamutov, he was the first Kyrgyz to work for Google. He was also the first and only Kyrgyz to be accepted to Y Combinator, which is the gold standard in the startup accelerator of the world. And he intentionally moved his office from Bay Area, from Silicon Valley to Bishkek to help to jumpstart the local ecosystem. And he has helped many founders. He's still helping to raise these new generations of Kyrgyz founders. This is why we call them hybrid, because he has this global experience, but he wants to give back, and he moved his office to the local ecosystem to help to develop it in turn. There's also Kainar Kamalov, who is also our friend, MIT graduate, Kyrgyz national, worked for several large startups, including Pipe, which is a large fintech startup. And he left, he started his own companies, and his last venture of his own was Kyle Health AI, which is an AI company which is using AI to optimize processes for taking care of elder patients in the US healthcare ecosystem. And he also is operating out of Kyrgyz Republic. This is why we call these stories hybrid. And finally, we have purely local, homegrown success stories, which are now starting to expand. And there are stories, for instance, like 996. So these guys, they're building text-to-speech models. And their latest model, I think it was top one on Hugging Face. Their previous models also made it to top 3, using around 10 languages already, and they're building quite an impressive. So far, it's an open source solution, but still, I think there is great potential. There are also companies which are now trying to build something out of Kyrgyz Republic, but for the entire world. And we've been part of this process. Fortunately, we've made our tiny modest contribution to that. And these companies are now being admitted to top global accelerators. Like we have several companies who were admitted to Antler in Malaysia, in Vietnam, in Singapore. The amount of the number of founders who are being admitted to these top global programs is growing. So these 3 major archetypes, definition of where we are in terms of founders here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's very helpful and interesting samples. And for international founders who are considering expanding to Kyrgyzstan, what opportunities do they often overlook?
So I think we are probably a good entry point. So market-wise, we are tiny. So we are 7 million in population. And of course, it's a fraction of a market in the region. So it makes no sense to sort of expand for the sole purpose of getting a new market because we are too small. But I think we can serve as a great sandbox. So for instance, if you're interested in Central Eurasia and you need to test your hypothesis really fast and in affordable fashion. So Kyrgyz Republic can become a great sandbox and a great entry point where you can test everything and then start scaling it to the larger region. And I'm really happy to see that the integration between the region is growing. 5-7 years back, we didn't even know about each other. We didn't talk to ecosystems in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan. But now it's a really close, friendly community. Every VC investor knows his or her counterparts in the region. There are cross-border joint investments. There are joint initiatives between our tech parks. There are LPs who are supporting funds in different parts of our region. And we are really happy to see this integration growing. So answering your question, probably we are sort of a great sandbox to play in and to test your initial steps before expanding to larger parts of the region.
Yeah, valuable point. Thank you. And our next question, what should foreign founders understand about doing business in Kyrgyzstan, such as finding local partners, building relationships, and entering at the market?
Here, I think we're not that different from other parts of the world. It's all about people. And I can confidently say that Kyrgyz ecosystem is quite friendly and open. If you need anything in Kyrgyz Republic, please use me as an entry point as well. I'm more than happy to answer your questions and to be part of your soft landing. It's a small, tight community, so everyone knows everyone. So I think just like everywhere else, it's about finding proper people to build something together with. And Kyrgyz people are generally open, and our VC ecosystem and tech ecosystem in general is quite friendly and open to new partners.
Yeah, thank you. And our last question. If you could give one piece of advice to founders who want to build a global company from Central Eurasia, what would it be?
Well, my generation's problem was we were raised in the fashion when we were told, don't be too active, be modest, don't put yourself into the spotlight. This our generation's trauma is actually stopping us from selling ourselves as founders, I think. And I'm really happy to see that new generation, Gen Z, has much more inner freedom in that regard, and they are better at selling themselves. So I think if I put it shortly, it would be have more faith in ourselves, because we are definitely capable of building global scale success stories. And Hicksfield is a great example of that. Quite sure that the next hottest part of the world in the VC space would be exactly our region. We just need more resources and a bit more time to scale our stories. But I have no doubt that we'll see a lot more exciting stories from our region. And I would love to see more faith in our founders so they can believe in their stories, be more ambitious, stop being modest, being bold, and building stories we all be proud with in the coming future.
Yeah, completely agree. Thank you so much, Daniel. This was a very insightful conversation.
Enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.